and then I will invite you to stand. Hymnal number 462.
Thank you for that beautiful song service. You may be seated. I want to give you a hearty welcome this morning. And today is a special day. Not because we're all here, not because I was born on this day just a few years ago, but it's special because of what? It's the Sabbath, right? And this special day, I want to welcome all of you that are present. Our lifestyle guests, our guests from abroad, our regular members, our visitors that come here for the first time. Is there anyone today that is here for the first time? You are. Welcome in this house of God today. It's a special day. Remember that. And I want to welcome also especially the constituent members. And this whole weekend is special. And again, not because we are so special, but because God made us special. God created us. And also the ones that are tuning in online, today is not a regular Sabbath school. This is just a different Sabbath school. We will have the reports of the different departments at Wildwood. And if you bow your knees before the Lord right now, before we go into our first report. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for the special day that you gave to us, your Sabbath. We want to thank you that we can rest in you. After a busy week of work, this is always a welcome day. But Lord, it's not so much the rest from our labor, but more the rest in you, that we can have communion with you on this holy day. And Lord, we want to invite you to be in our midst as we continue our service for the Sabbath School today. Will you please be with us? And we invite your Holy Spirit in Jesus' name. Amen. So I want to call up front Sister Ileda Feliciano, who will give the first report. And this is the report of our elementary school here at Wildwood.
Good morning, happy Sabbath. I'm not seeing it here because I will have to wear this so I can see it over there. Okay, so I have the privilege to share with you some of what the Lord has been doing in our elementary school this year. We have, our theme this year has been Building for Eternity. And of course, that which we build that will last for eternity is our characters. And, you know, not all the characters that we build are built for eternity. We are building every day. We're building our character every day. But only if we're building after the character of Christ are we building for eternity. So during our Bible class, on Fridays, we actually have different people who we invite to come and share with the children. So this is our brother Charles giving a lesson to the children. But during the week, I have been sharing with them, and we have been talking about the character of God. And God is love, and his character is love. So we've been talking about the different facets of love. And when we looked at each of these, the children have a Bible journal where they have to reflect on what they learn. I think one of our biggest problems is as Adventists, especially in circles like this, we have a lot of knowledge, but we don't bring it all to practical use. And I think a lot of the children know the stories of the Bibles. They want to be brave like Daniel. They want to be, they want to have the faith of this people, but they don't know what that is. And so I had the burden to bring that to very practical things that they could understand. How are you brave like the people in the Bible? And so we discuss these things in there right now for them, what it is for them. And then they have to reflect. And so I'm going to share with you some of their Bible journal reflections as we learned about the different characters of God this year. Right here, we were talking about the story of Caleb and Joshua. And Caleb and Joshua, from them we learned pure words. Caleb and Joshua, we can only have pure words when our words align with what God says, right? But the others, they were complaining. Oh, the grapes are very big, but you know what? They were giant people there. Oh, it's too much. We cannot do it. God said, go take it over. But here's the people complaining. They are talking negatively. In their words, how powerful our words are. Their words delay them 40 years in the wilderness, and Caleb and Joshua, who chose to use pure words, had to suffer the consequences with them. How sad, right? And so here in this picture, I wish I could see it here because it's very hard for me to see all the way over there. But anyways, I hope my notes are right. In the picture, on one side, they had to draw a picture of what we talked about. And then the other side, how they're going to apply it. So in the other picture, you see two drawings. One of them has a check mark on it. That means, yes, this is what you have to do. And another one has an X on it. I don't know why some of the students decided to do this, to show that the wrong behavior. So in the first one, it says, I like Anna. And the other person is responding, yes, yes. And then the other picture of what you should not do says, you know what Anna said to me? No, what? You can learn a lot from these lessons, right? Because our words, how powerful they are to build or to destroy it. And so I told the children, you know what that means to you? Okay, so you're not going to be called to go to Canaan. Because, we can sit there and say, I want to be like Caleb and Joshua. But what does that mean? That means when you are with your friends and someone says to you something negative about someone else, you don't want to hear it. You want to say positive things about your friends. That's what it means. We need to use our words purely to help, to build, to strengthen. What good is the story of Joshua and Caleb if we don't know how to apply it to our very lives right here and right now? We learn from the story of the prodigal son, we learn forgiveness. And in this picture, you can see that the reflection in bottom says, if my sister does something to me, I will forgive. And this is one thing I focus with the children when we are talking about how we're going to be missionaries. We need to begin in the home. You want to check how much your character is like Christ? Home is the place, right? That's where you need to show Christ-like character to mommy, to daddy, to brother and sister. That's where you show how much you are like Christ. So that's the first place to practice, and I'm glad this student understood that. From Paul, we learn diligence. We know that Paul, even though he was a preacher, he didn't think just talking was his work. He was diligent to work, and he worked hard making tents. And so here you see the response was, I am going to do my best at chores. Right? A lot of times they just want the chores to be done, and they just rush through them. So they need to understand that in these little things, we need to be diligent in doing our very best. We learn courage from Daniel's friends. And so you see in the first picture, the picture of Daniel and his friends in the furnace. And on the other side, there's two little kids and one is saying no. And this is the lesson that I tried for them to understand. For children at their age, the influence of their friends is the most important thing. And the scariest thing for them is not a statue that's going to be put up and you have to bow down or you're going to be put in and they're not going to go through that right now. But they have to face every day their friends asking them to do something they know is wrong. And for them, the scariest thing is to say no to their friends. Because their friends are not going to like them. Their friends are going to say they're weird. Their friends are going to talk about them. And this is so important for them. So this is where they need to be courageous. To learn to say no to something that they know they should not do. From the camp of Israel, did I skip one? Oh, no, I have my notes wrong then. No, I skip in my notes. Thriftiness, from Jesus feeding the multitude. And so one responded, we should reuse more. And we talked about this. I think children especially do not realize, even though here in America, I think we adults too, the worth of things. So we waste a lot. And so we talked a lot about this, and we practiced it at our school. And then from the camp of Israel, we learned orderliness. And this child, as you can see in his response, he's putting his toys back in his toy box, right? Very practical. From Dorcas, we learn, again, I skipped on myself. From Abraham and Lot, we learned selflessness. How Abraham, this was the land that God gave him, and yet when it was time to split, he asked Lot to choose. Right? He led him first to choose. And so I told, the response says, I think about others. And there's this boy, he's drawing himself. He says, me, and then his brother, and he's giving the toys to his brother. Right? Benevolence from Dorcas. And it says, the response says, I am going to put money in the self-denial box. In our school, we have a self-denial box. Following the counsel that Ellen White says, in every home we should have a self-denial box, and we should teach children to deny themselves from things they don't need, like going to the store and buy a candy or a toy that is unneeded, and that money to put it in the self-denial box to help those in need. And so since our school runs as a home, we have a self-denial box. And the children have been putting in there, and this year we have decided to give our money from the self-denial box to a school in Congo. Some of you know Ismael and Janelli. They were here. Well, Ismael was here as a student, and Janelli came maybe for about 2 months as a volunteer. And then from here, they went to Congo, where they have little Abigail. And they went there with the purpose of starting a school. And this is their school that they built. He went there was nothing. I really admired him. He's been a great inspiration to me. We've kept in contact, and I'm really blessed to hear how he's gone there, a place where he does not know the language. He didn't go with a team, just him and his wife. And they just started getting to know the people, and little by little they bought land and they built this school. And it's a very simple school. Inside you can see it's dirt floors, simple walls, simple desk, but the children are learning true education. Okay, these children are coming from the community, some of them hearing about Jesus for the first time, but they're learning the whole message. They're learning health, they're learning agriculture. They are going out to do outreach. Children who are just learning about Jesus, they go out to the community and they are sharing Jesus with others. It is a blessing. And so we have the privilege to be able to help out in some way this ministry. And this is a reflection that the children had to one of the guests who came to share about being missionaries. And this child responded, "I want Jesus to help me to say the gospel." And they really have a burden to share Jesus with others. We have an opportunity to do that through our canvassing program. And the children do get nervous sometimes at it, but you know, some of them are still decided that they want to share Jesus with others, that they welcome the opportunity. And they have the opportunity to be talking to different people that come on our campus, some who know nothing about our message, and some who are familiar with it, and then of course our very own as well. And they get to talk to every person and share about the books that we have. And get to practice their speech and get to share Jesus with others. And this year we've had the privilege to have missionary training with Miss Mia. She has started an effort with the Sabbath School program and had asked our school to be able to team up with them. And she's come almost every Friday and done training with the children. And we have been so blessed. She has such a talent with these children, and she has taught them about our fundamental beliefs and how to share them in a very simple way with others. And then she organized this mission trip to, you know, we think of mission trips outside of the country. Well, we can't take these children outside of the country, but mission trip is anywhere where you go with the mission of sharing the gospel. And so these children went to Trenton, not too far from here, to an apartment building, and they went there to share the gospel. And as you can see them here, if you can see the circle, there are some of our children and some of their children holding hands together, singing to Jesus. Isn't that precious? I am so thankful for the work that she's done. She continued to work with them and then took them to a nursing home. In this project, they were set by teams, and they had a specific truth of the Bible that they were to share. And they had a Bible verse that they had learned how to sing it, and some words they had to share about that verse. They prayed with the person. They went on, and they went by groups and visited with the elderly and share the fundamental truths of our faith right there with the people. And then we went again to that nursing home. This was led by Becky, who worked with us at the elementary school for a month, and she was able to help us lead out a music program to this elderly group there. And so this year has been filled with blessings and trials, but the Lord does always have ways to do his work, and we have been very blessed. One of the blessings that we started enjoying recently, the mothers and I have been meeting weekly to pray together and to study together in understanding the precious work that it's in helping these children, guiding these children through Christ. It's a very important work and one that comes with many trials, so please keep our elementary school and our children in your prayers.
Thank you, Sister Ileda. This is so exciting what is happening at Wildwood, right? Even with the children, it's very exciting. Now we have more excited reports to hear. I invite now Dr. Isaias up front to give a medical report.
Good morning, church. In the book Evangelism, there's chapter 70. Sister White is talking about binding off the work thoroughly. And even though this applies to evangelism, I thought we could use that here for Wildwood as well. It says, I'm just going to read 2 sentences here. It says, good impressions have been made. Do you think we make good impressions here on the guests? If you doubt about that, I want to invite you to come to our graduation on Wednesday at 6:30. It's powerful, okay? Whenever I feel discouraged, I just have to go there and think I'm in the right place, okay? So we make good impressions, but look what Sister White says. Good impressions have been made, but unless these impressions are deepened by careful, prayerful effort, Satan will counteract them. Let not the laborers rest content with what has been done. So, one other sentence here. She says, too often the work is left in an unfinished state, and in many such cases, it amounts to nothing. I've been in this church for 50 years. One thing that I've noticed quite commonly, people get baptized, and that's the last day you see them in church. You never see them again. Why? Because there's no follow-up, right? Nobody befriends them. Nobody invites them over. And they just get discouraged and leave. So this year, the Lord blessed us with a couple, Derek Hamilton and his wife, Dr. Joy Hamilton. And I remember when I came here last year, the first question I asked Ruben Ullman, do we have a follow-up program for the guests when they go home? He said, we have something, but I wasn't too convinced about how robust the program was. So now Derek is doing a very thorough work with that. And I have asked him to tell us a little bit of the experiences he's been having with the follow-up program. It's a 3-month follow-up program for a nominal fee, okay? And I think we should extend that to all the guests that come here, so they all get the benefit of this program.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Isaias. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sabbath. So we do have a program following up. It's a 3-month program, as mentioned. And I'd like to share with you just how we have been doing that. The mission is to reinforce the elements that the guests learn. I don't know if you have had the privilege or opportunity to speak with any guests, or maybe sometimes when they return a year later or 2 years later, it's amazing to discover how far off track they have gone. In fact, it's not really amazing, because you just reflect on your own life. How long did it take for you to get to the point where you are today? It's a journey. And oftentimes we need encouragement, we need that support. So the mission that we have here is to reinforce the elements that were learned, to equip individuals with practical skill sets and the tools that they need to continue this journey, and to enhance the physical, the mental, and the spiritual well-being. And as we have done so many health expos, health fairs, those of you that have participated maybe recognize and have the concern in the back of your mind. After we have made these contacts, we've gotten their names, we have their email addresses, but how often do we follow up with those contacts? In many cases, we're not even able to get those contacts. We give them some literature, we get their blood pressure, and that's the last time that we see them. I recognize that we had that same concept here. They came here for 11 days. We worked with them as diligently as we could, and then they were gone, never to be seen again. What a lost opportunity. And the burden has been on all of our hearts to utilize this relationship and to continue it, to develop it. And that is our goal, to extend that relationship so that we can develop all of the truths that they have learned more fully. So that's our mission. How do we do that? Our goal, is to help the graduates of the Lifestyle Program to live life to the fullest, with the vigor and the enthusiasm that they so desire, that they're seeking, without the added stress, the stress of going back home into the community, back to their job, not knowing what to do, how to go out to fellowship with others at get-togethers where there's food, and how to mingle, and also how to overcome their debilitating health problems. So that is our goal. The method that we use, education and structured mentoring are combined. We take this together and strive to develop problem-solving skills for themselves, so that as they encounter the challenges of life, they will be able to make intelligent decisions that will help them to promote a healthier lifestyle. There are 3 steps that we have incorporated into making this happen. The 3 steps are education, accountability, and support. Wrapped up in those 3 steps, we have tutorials, we have training videos. We essentially review the lifestyle program with them over the 3 months that we work with them. Each week we have live group meetings where we actually coach the individuals. They're able to ask questions, bring up any concerns that they have, and we continue to re-educate them. They have a plan for every single day of the next 90 days. And they have access to that through their own private membership site. They have emails, options to send me emails, and we have a private Facebook group where the guests can develop relationships with each other and support each other and hold themselves accountable. This is the basic premise of what we have put together. I'd like to give you an email that I received just 2 or 3 days ago. This is from a young lady, and it was an extensive email, so this is the abridged version, if that's okay. All right? She told me a lot of her story and a lot of the challenges that she had, and she even made some suggestions as what she'd like to see. So I took a few of the lines out of here. It says here, "Hi, Derek. Hope you are having a blessed week. I have been meaning to write you for quite some time. Through prayer and much encouragement, I am on the right path again." What do you say? She was way off track. She'd been here, she's invested her time and her money, and yet without the added support and somebody holding her accountable, that time and that money would have been totally wasted. It's like an expensive vacation never to be remembered again. In fact, when we go on vacation, we generally take pictures, don't we? And we have those pictures to look at, and we remember 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. We say, oh, that was such a great time. But when you come to Wildwood, typically, sometimes some people do take pictures, but they don't even have pictures to reflect upon. What a waste of time if it's not utilized. Wouldn't you agree? So she claims to be on the right path again. She goes on to say, "I understand that my setback was due to the emotional triggers of life." Can't we associate with that? But I am committed to following all that I learned while at Wildwood and through the Taking Better Health Home program. By the way, that's what we're calling it, Taking Better Health Home. I am determined to lose the few pounds I gained back and increasing my physical activity. I think the Taking Better Health Home program is extremely beneficial. From the very start, I thought the concept of the program was a much needed one, and I still think so and want it to succeed. I particularly enjoy the online interaction, that's on the social media. Even though it may be for a brief minute during the day, it actually brightens my day and makes me smile. Isn't that nice? Every day we have posts that are sent to the social media site, and as you all know, it triggers something on your phone if you link it with your phone, of course. And they'll see it, they respond to it, and they can interact. If somebody has a question, or they post, what happens a lot too is they post some of their menus that they've made that we suggest, and they've made them, and they'll actually take pictures and show us what it looks like and things of that nature. And I also value the weekly calls. That's our live calls every week. We have a live call, and the topics have all been relevant and, what does that say? Relevant in things? Oh, okay. I also value the weekly calls. The topics have all been relevant and things that I can immediately put into practice. It would be great if there could be more presentations by the counselors, and specifically mentioned Mia and Megalina. For those of you who are not familiar with those are lifestyle, what do you call it? Life alignment counselors, and also, what is Megalina? Mental health, thank you. Maybe it is just what I'm going through at the moment with work and care of my mother. But I think the emotional wellness aspect should be explored further, just something to consider. That's something I don't have a lot of experience with, so we were weak in that area, and she brought it to our attention that she would appreciate it. And I think the last comment here, in summary, I think the program is valuable and sustainable. It is because of the program that I can get back on the wagon, so to speak. Have a wonderful evening. All the best, Andrea. Isn't that beautiful? And this resonates with the overall concept of what we have experienced so far. This is brand new. We started January the 6th of this year. So we have gone through our first 3-month program. Even though it's a 3-month program, we do not cut the individuals off, but we've made a commitment, to work specifically, answering their questions, helping them along the way for 3 months. However, they will have access to all of the content, all of the material, for right now, for up to a year. So they have their membership site with all of the training modules in there, all of the recipes. They can stay on social media. They can interact with the French and continue to develop the friendships that they've developed. So we thank the Lord for the technology that He has allowed us to utilize to bring these people together. And it's just fascinating to see people from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from all over the world, and all of the different states of this country as we get together on live each week. And that essentially is what we're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Hamilton and Dr. Isaiah. This was a wonderful report. And let's keep this whole project in prayer, because it's very important that we continue. So now to go over to our next report. It's by Sister Mary Fisher. She's doing the lifestyle report. I want to reiterate a small thing. If you can kindly keep it within 10 minutes, everyone who is reporting, so we can have all the reports on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to just thank the Lord for having an opportunity to come up and share about reports from the Lifestyle Center. And I think it's timely that I came after Derek and the report from Dr. Coelho, because we see a great need. Initially, God's desire was to start lifestyle centers outside of every city. This way it would have enabled us to be on a close contact with individuals. It's not that way anymore. They are at a great distance, and we have these varied challenges, so we're so thankful for the follow-up program and the availability to our guests. But I'm even thankful for the great thrust of the General Conference to start out more centers such as this, and that we can reach people through this avenue of evangelism that widens God's ability to meet many different people's needs. I want to, before I go into the reports, also thank the Lord for the wonderful team at the Sanitarium family. It doesn't just represent the immediate family in the Lifestyle Center, but our laundry, our kitchen, our hydrotherapy, our providers. It's like a mini evangelistic series in a way. You're able to touch them from all different angles, and we have people largely of our faith that come, that want a Christian environment, that have been overworked or are dealing with mental, spiritual, physical issues. But there's many not of our faith that are Christians that are seeking an environment away from the holistic kind of methods that bring in spiritualism and other things that are detrimental to our guests. So I just want to reiterate again the input of each of the persons that are on the team and their individual walk with the Lord, and how the power of the Holy Spirit can make an impact on the guests that in turn we want to foster and continue as they leave. So I'm going to share a statement with you. And we certainly see like the great controversy going on the floor actually all the time between good and evil, as well as I know the practitioners do. But really it's a microcosm, of God working with our individual guests here. And I talked to our coaches prayerfully about, who to share, because like it says, if we were to recount all the works of Jesus or all these all the events in the books of Acts, it says they would have numerous books, right? And hopefully in the future, maybe we can get some testimonials that we can put in book form. But I will say this, and you'll forgive me for just having to jump here to my statement. It says here, the time has come when health reform will be received in its importance by many on high places and many in low places. We see people from all walks of life come here, young, old, a lot of different circumstances, and we looked at the people that we covered today. We looked at different kind of categories. And we wanted to read this. It says here, for the sake of this one man, it's talking about the lepers, and only one returned to thank God. It says here, who would make the right use of the blessing of health, Jesus healed the whole 10. The 9 passed on without appreciating the work done and rendered no grateful thanks to Jesus for doing the work. Thus will the physicians of the Health Institute have their efforts treated. But if in their labor to help suffering humanity, 1 out of 20 makes a right use of the benefits received and appreciate their efforts in his behalf, the physician should feel grateful and satisfied. We would like a different ratio on this, right? It goes on to say, if 1 life out of 10 is saved, and 1 soul out of 100 is saved in the kingdom of God, all connected with the Institute will be amply repaid for all their efforts. So I thought, when we think of this statement, it is something else. So as I said, there's many different people in different categories here. One lady I want to report from the position of Jasenia. She's one of our lifestyle coaches that has worked closely with our life alignment people. She was received a guest. She's a young lady, probably around 18 years of age. I won't call them by name, of course, without their permission. But she came from a very Amish background. She had rejected the faith of her parents. She came with her mother. She was estranged from her father. She was very angry, very rebellious at that point. She had gotten into drugs, and she had a very wrong picture of God. And attending the life alignment classes, her whole concept of God changed. She saw God's love for her. Now she goes to church regularly. She's actually going to be baptized. Not in that faith, but in a Christian faith. She calls Jasenia often with spiritual questions. So we see those, grasping a hold of God's help here. And we have another lady. She came several times. She had suffered from a stroke. She was a teacher. She had found out about us through a parent of one of her children, and she came here for physical help. And she was a Methodist, but she had a lot of questions, and she was very resistive to, some of the things that maybe spiritually like to share with her along different lines. But little by little, as she returned, on her second to the last visit, she says at the farewell, I'm going to become a baptized Seventh-day Adventist. And then we had the joy of seeing her just this past summer return to the Lifestyle Center, and she was baptized here. She's returned to her home in Long Island, and she's there serving the Lord. She is still challenged with different physical issues, but thank the Lord, she's moving forward in faith. And then I want to share also about a pastor. We have several pastors that come of our faith and those that aren't. But this particular pastor, he was a Seventh-day Adventist. He had a lot of concerns with his high blood pressure, and that he was closely monitoring, and he got fixated on his hypertension. And he began to lose his faith in God. And he came to us with terrible insomnia because of his fears, and he was fixating on all this problem could be solved with magnesium. So he was behind each one of us and the importance of getting that. And then he recognized that really he had lost sight of God in this whole scenario. And he was able to get that connection back with the Lord. He actually comes back here on a monthly basis to help us with some things with his ministry that we are coordinating with. So we're just so thankful for that. And then we have another two men, businessmen. One came here, all he did was money, money, money was his thing. But I will give a report from Amarildo. Amarildo had contact with him. He's one of our coaches. He said, I sure hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine. He says, I feel 1,000% better. My mind's clear. My body is rejuvenated. I'm focused. I'm more positive, full of energy. Most of all, I have never spent this type of extended time around so many positive people listening to testimonials after testimonials. And he says, lots of folks with miracle stories defeating death. This is uplifting to my spirit. He says, I'm usually in discussions about money. The Lord blessed where this man actually had a burden on his heart to share financially with our campus a large amount of funds to be a blessing to the ministry here. Then there was another businessman. He's actually had owned one of the biggest cattle ranches in Jamaica. And he came here and he just accepted this wholeheartedly. It's so fascinating. People, not even our faith, more taking hold of these things than ourselves. So he got his wife to come back, his daughter who was depressed. They got on board with him. He's returned. They started a vegetarian restaurant using their whole farm to reach people in this method. And I'm thinking, thank the Lord. It's amazing. Then we have other categories. We have people that come here and they're in maybe stage 4 cancer. And one lady I want to share about her experience. Very, very touching. She came from another country with her mother, another person that was a caregiver. And she had stage 4 breast cancer. It had metastasized to the spinal cord. But the main thing with her, she said that to her coach, Matuka, she said on the first day why she came to Wildwood, her answer was, I'm afraid of death. I am afraid of dying and not being right in my relationship with God. She was a Seventh-day Adventist. And she says, I told her we would work on strengthening her relationship with God. I asked the chaplains to visit her often to begin with. She was a loving and lovable person, but she also knew from all the results and doctor's visits that she wouldn't live much longer. We even questioned whether she could fly back to her country under the condition that she was. But she said that one day she was moved to sing a hymn to her. Matuka was. She says, God will take care of you, and to quote Joshua 1:9. And unbeknownst to her, this guest the night before had sung that song and had prayed that verse and had claimed it. And she says, I'm asking, Lord, that you would just speak to my heart personally and have it repeated through another person. And that Matuka shared it the next morning. And I know that if the coaches, if the hydrotherapists, laundry people could get up here, they'd have their own individual interactions that the guests had with them. But this lady left. In 10 days, she died. But it said, she said that she was at peace with God. And it says, I remember hearing the news, or Matuka said, she was ready, she saw in her mind, and she was just thanking the Lord. So many people here, the Lord maybe just laid to rest in peace. Maybe not get physical healing. Others, he does. Others, maybe at the beginning of their life, like this young lady was. So it's a wonderful blessing and outreach, and I just thank you that we could share. 11 minutes. I did it.
Well, that's good. We're counting. Thank you, Sister Mary, for this wonderful report. And now we're having the privilege. How many of you have been blessed yesterday evening by the music? Wow, it was great, right? It was a blessing. Now we have again the privilege of listening to the children's choir of Wildwood. So I asked them to come up forward. What a blessing to hear these children sing. Beautiful voices. Thank you, the teachers, too, for training them. I want to call up front Brother Henry Duplessis to give the report of the natural food market.
You know, in the natural food market, we have the privilege of being at the front end of the Wildwood campus, and we get to meet people that otherwise never know or would never know what is happening, really happening on this campus over here. So, you know, for us it's really important to make that first contact and tell people about Wildwood and what we do and the purpose of what we do. And one of the things that we've purposed ourselves to do in this year is to let every person that is new, or that we know that is new to the store, let them know that we are a non-profit organization and what we stand for and what we are trying to achieve as far as the community is concerned. You know, and once people hear what we're all about and what we are doing, they're very receptive. And most of them actually say, well, in that case, you know, I'm really going to talk to my friends and get some of them to come here as well. A couple of experiences that I've just had in the time that we work there, you know, because people come there with health challenges. Earlier in the year, I had a couple come, and they walked into the store and they looked a little bit lost. And they were looking here and looking there. And eventually I stepped up to them and I asked them, can I help you? And they said, yes, please. It turns out that both of them were diabetic. They wanted to make changes to their lives, but they had absolutely no idea where to start. They didn't know what to do, where to go. And they had very little information to go on. And I spent probably about half an hour, 40 minutes, just very briefly telling them the basics of things that they need to do in order to help them regain their health. I took them through the store, showed them some of the foods that would be better for them to eat, some of the lifestyle changes they need to make, some of the exercise they need to incorporate into their lifestyle, and so forth. And they were extremely receptive and extremely thankful for the information. Anyway, they left. This week, the lady came back, and she was in the store briefly, and she caught my eye, and I stepped closer, and I said to her, how things going? And she said, yes, you were the one that spent time with us. I want to thank you. We incorporated some of the things that you were telling us, and we can see that it made a big change to our lives. You know, just in the past week, another story that came up was that we were advertising last year with our Thanksgiving sale, and there was a particular message that we shared with the public, and one of our doctors was kind enough to share that message. And Dr. Grievous, thank you very much. He shared a very powerful short message, and we were advertising that on Facebook. This week, a lady came in. She said, you know, I saw an advertisement of this place online, but I was so busy at that time, and I said to myself, God, I need to go to that place. I need this place, but I don't know where it is. And she said, you know, I prayed about it a couple of times, and I just didn't know where Wildwood was. And the past week, the traffic was very busy on the highway, and she needed to turn off to go the back roads because she lives the other side of, just the other side of Trenton. So she went around the back road, and she turned off here by the I-69. And as she was getting to join the Highway 11, she drove past Wildwood and she saw the store. She backed up and she came in. She said, this is where you are. Praise God. And she was really just spending about 5 minutes telling me the whole story and praising God, saying, thank you so much for being here. You know, I love what you guys are doing, and I love the store. I'll be back. Just one more short story. I had, over the past couple of months, we've had a gentleman come in, a young guy, very tall, very young guy. He seems to be a little bit strange at first, but it turned out that he's actually very nice. He comes in and he has some health challenges, And he's been telling me over time, he says, you know, you guys are the only place, the only store that I can really trust, because I can see that you guys care. And this is my life. He says, I don't know what I would have done if you guys weren't here, because at least I can trust what you sell over here. I can trust, whereas many of the other stores, you know, it's just about making money. It's not really about caring for people. And he comes back every week. He's one of our very good customers. And you know, what's really encouraging is that, especially over the past year or so, we have been seeing more and more new faces. And just in the last week, I remember seeing someone and stepping up to them and saying, you know, I haven't seen you here before. Welcome. And they said, yes, we're new to the area. Actually, we moved up from Florida, and we asked around our neighborhood, where can we go to buy healthy food? And the neighbors referred them here, said, this is the place you got to go. All right. So it seems like the word is getting out. We're happy about it. And we're looking forward to many more happy stories. But I have a young gentleman over here that would really like to share another story.
So at the country store, I believe it's not only about feeding people healthy food, but getting them the spiritual bread as well. He was talking about getting the word out of our store, but I see the store as an opportunity of getting the word out to the people. And I'm the stalker, so I don't have too much time with the customers. I'm always running back and forth, stocking the shelves. But I try to make it a point to talk with the customers just a little bit, to get some kind of interaction with them, to see if there's any open door for me to interject the love of Christ. And it's kind of funny. I think we're talking about the same guy, the tall, kind of strange guy. I've talked to him many times, and the first time I talked to him, I usually just break the ice with most of the customers, say, hey, why are you here? Why are you interested in health? And then as we go through, I end up asking, so do you participate in health for any religious reasons? And if they are a religious perspective, or if they don't, I ask, oh, have you ever heard of being healthy as a religious aspect? And then if they say no, then I explain to them what we believe and how we practice it and how we apply it to our lives. And through that, I was able to share a great controversy with the men. And they say in the colportering world, once a colporter, always a colporter. And so through my time being at the country store, we've been able to get out handfuls of steps of Christ, great controversies, some through personal interactions, and some simple as at the cash register, just saying, hey, would you mind donating an extra cents to help out Wildwood? And I'll give you a free book. And simply giving them the book, Steps to Christ. And so much literature is going out. And also on Wednesdays my favorite day of the store, because I get to listen to the testimonies of the pioneers on my audio. And it's inspired me to publish something in the country store. So I put one of my own personal Bible studies in the country store, and just watch the customers take them. And as they leave, if I know they're a new face, I say, hey, don't forget your free material. And I'll give it to them on their way out. And over 20 of them have gotten out so far, just within the period of a month and a half. So there's much work being done here at the country store.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you, Brother Henry. Appreciate your reports. And as you know, Constituency is kind of like a family meeting, right? The family that moved away is coming back sometimes. At this time, that is the moment. And we have one family member who is back today with us. It's Pastor Jesse Ravencroft, and he's going to give a report about the Heritage Department.
Happy Sabbath. Good to see you. I will be having some slides. Well, as it's been mentioned, I've been away for 2 years, so some of you don't know who I am. Just to let you know, for those that are new. My name is Jesse Ravencroft. I ran the Heritage Department under Donna Paulin for several years. and I loved it. History is my passion, so what better place to work than the history department of an institution. So I've been very excited, even though I've left in person. I'm still here in spirit, and I'm still working for here. Been working hard. As a matter of fact, in the past 2 years that I've been gone, I've actually got a lot accomplished for the Heritage Department. Last year in October, we have all of Elder Frazee, he was the founder of Wildwood, all of his audio sermons written out, transcribed. That's completed. Now we're just going back, cleaning them up, and making sure they're accurate and they're in harmony with each other. They all have the same style. We've been working on a number of other projects as well. Many of you have been asking me, though, about my family. Oh, and there's the Heritage Center. By the way, this weekend we will be having tours. Please take your tour. You'll see in the bulletin there's times available to go learn about the inspiring history of Wildwood. There's my family. They couldn't come with me, but they still wanted to say hi. I've moved to Idaho. And even my father-in-law, not many of you remember him because he didn't show up very much, but even he said, "Oh, I want to go to Wildwood." He misses everybody. And of course, my wife and my daughter, Hannah, she's getting big. As you can see, she's 4 now. And they all say hello and give their love and greetings to everyone. And they so wish that they could have come maybe another time. And while we've been busy over there, there have been a lot of people busy here, still keeping the ministry going. Donna is still faithful, giving heritage tours, and we're thankful for Magda, Miriam, and the others who are getting out the materials, and working hard. Tom and Daniel working in the back end and making sure things run smoothly and accurately. Also, not too far where I am, there is Brother Harold Lance. He was, as some of you will remember, very involved here in Wildwood for many years, and more recently, just before I left, he was the chairman of the Constituency. And he wanted to send this note. He said, "I treasure my time of involvement at Wildwood as one of my most significant assignments. Please convey a greeting to the group. We miss them, value their faithfulness, and look forward to seeing them at the second coming and eternity." And he's busy out there spreading the good message. And he loves light, by the way, and he loves giving out light books. So faithful at doing that. Now, the main thing I wanted to share is something very exciting. One of the main reasons I moved to Idaho was this young man. Some of you probably remember him. He came several years ago to the campus. He wanted to check things out, and particularly he was interested in Wildwood's history. He took a tour of the Heritage Department before it was cleaned up, and it was quite a mess back then, but he didn't mind. He just wanted to research this historical gold. So he went through the files. He was working on just a term paper for one of his assignments. He was a student at Andrews at the time. And he was so impressed and inspired by reading these stories of medical evangelism by John Tyndall, Elder Frazee, and others, that he wrote his term paper, but he couldn't just write a paper about this. He had to do something about it. So he did. He teamed up in Idaho with this man who was already very much into evangelism, medical doctor, but he loves the Bible. He does evangelism, and he tries to use his medical practice the best he knows how for evangelism. His name's Dr. John Torquato. He's learning, he's growing, and when he heard this young man who became a nurse practitioner, his name was Eric, by the way, and Eric told him about the great things that John Tyndall and W.D. Frazee had done. So why don't we do that here? So they teamed up and decided to go ahead and start a very small group and start a Tyndall Frazee-based evangelism model in the city of Spokane, Washington, which is not too far from where I am now. Now this man, he's the pastor of the local church there. He works very closely with Dr. Torquato, very close team. He loves Elder Frazee. They have bought in cases of coming events, one of Elder Frazee's books, and they've studied it for their prayer meetings. She's a graduate of the online school. Some of you may remember many years back, the director of the hospital, that was her sister, Heather Glass. This is her sister, Julie. It's a very small team, but they're very energetic and very excited to try to implement the things they've learned from the past. This is a church they just recently built. Now keep in mind, this is a very small congregation. It's not much bigger than our congregation of New England. And the church members don't make that much money, not much more than we make here. Yet, the Lord furnished this beautiful church for them. And it was built on purpose with evangelism in mind, health evangelism in particular. So one of the unique things about this church is it's the only one of its kind. It actually has a doctor's office, fully functional, in the middle of the church. They have a great big kitchen with a demonstration room for health lectures, which they use frequently. Using the Tyndall model of working together with industries and local municipalities, they've worked with the fire department. They found some people in the community that just were needing food. They gathered together, as you can see, a lot of food, and they had the fire department deliver it to the family, of which they were, of course, very grateful. With that, of course, they do lots of health evangelism, constantly doing one health program after another. They've already done a Pathways to Health event where various medical professionals come in and donate their services, and also they've done a couple evangelistic series. It's been exciting to be over there and to try to encourage them and help them. They have obviously been very inspired by our history here. Now, how has Wildwood history inspired you? And what will you do about it?
Thank you very much, Pastor Jesse Ravencroft. This was a beautiful report. I want to call up Brother Jacob Moreno, last but not least, our education department.
Silvia. Happy Sabbath, everyone. Certainly, this is one of my favorite departments at Wildwood. I don't know why. I guess we have a lot of fun with my friends in the team, but mostly because God has blessed us with the opportunity to meet young people that come from all over the world, literally, for a year or 6 months and stay with us. And we are learning so much from them at the same time that they are learning within the institution. As you understand, the students of Wildwood participate in pretty much every single department through their volunteer work, and at the same time as they study with so many teachers we have here on campus. Today I just want to present some information for those of you who may not have much information about what happens in the education department. Now, Wildwood is all about education. Education, it goes beyond the education department. As you hear today, the Lifestyle Center, the store, even, every single effort from the institution contains education, and that is pretty much one of the main strength that we have here, because we believe that education leads to redemption in the people. But specifically in the education department, we have the idea to help people, to empower people to do mission work. And that it's through different venues, through the health message in the Lifestyle Center, some of them through the entrepreneurial spirit of, become a manager or start to develop a new ministry somewhere in the world. So in order to achieve that, we have been working with the whole institution, trying to develop those venues and opportunities to empower young people to achieve those goals and to continue with God's call for them to fulfill their life. So last year, we we had an enrollment of, you can see, of 70 students through the whole year. We got 55 students during the springtime and 46 students in the fall. Now you may say that's more than 70, but we have the missionary volunteer program, which means that people can come for 6 months and volunteer with us, so they may stay the following semester. So here is 23 students in the health evangelism course, the one you may see here. Then we have 14 students as missionary volunteers that will take the following semester the training. And then we have the program of ministry management. We have 6 students, and we have 3 students for lifestyle coaching during the first semester of 2018. Then in fall 2018, actually this is all the way around. This one was here. But anyways, we have 26 students, 14 missionary volunteers again, which they are right now in class, and 6 and 10 students for the advanced programs. This semester we will keep working. This is how it looks today. We are receiving 56 applications, and we accept for this semester, that is currently 41 students. We have a dropout of few of them that before they come here, actually a week before they come here, they have different reasons that, call them, receive a call from God to do something else. And the week before we have a drop of 7 students. But we work with a lot of visa issues. So, we have a big number of visas that have been approved and other visas that have been denied. International students apply to come to Wildwood. This is just to show a little bit, and this is what is going on right now for next semester. Some information. We think Sylvia is the one who is leading all of this in the department. But we still are trying to recruit people in different venues. We want to talk a little bit about how we're doing national mission trips. That is something very exciting. But we are doing that. And so far we have been able to go in the last year and a half for 15 events in different actually 20% of the students that we have currently, almost during the last year actually, were out of, the word of mouth from some other students. So former students actually recruit others that ended up here. Almost the 20% of our students are just reference from friends that were students here. And of course, we have big events like the GYC. And last year, we have a nice, beautiful team who went up, and they definitely, get 100 context people interested about Wildwood, not just our education training, but even the medical observer program, a few other venues that we offer education at Wildwood. And definitely we sign up 5 people right out in the same place. Now, I want to share something very exciting. It's about last year, the spiritual life. Brother Tapiwa and different others from our team has been working pretty hard in the student life. And, by God's grace, last year we have, active Bible studies for baptism to 5 of our students. And last year we have baptism and rebaptism about 6 of our students. And that is a blessing, part of the miracle that we're looking forward. And even though most of our students are Adventists already, we always have opportunities to, to preach and praise God for these blessings from last year that came out of the school. We had implemented, and this is getting better by God's grace, the mentorship program. Last year, even though we have been working with this, was until the fall of last year that this mentorship program took in a whole other level compared for what we had before. And we definitely have been involved. 9 education staff were involved in a, in a weekly mentorship program toward almost every single student. We have 44 students who receive in a regular basis mentorship. This is maybe something that we thought it should be like that, but hasn't been like that always. But praise God, we almost get 100%. That means that every single staff member has been counseling with somebody in the school or few of our students about, life, about the future, about their experience, the good and the bad things they have been experiencing, and trying to empower them. Few of us have a little more challenge to work out the schedule, but this semester is still in progress. We have And this time we have 8 education staff, and we have 4 families from Wildwood that join us to do this mentorship effort. And of course, at this point, we have 41 students, and I hope by the end of the semester, we will be able to have 100% of the students with a very developed mentoring program. Now, a few testimonies that come out of the mentoring program. Last semester, one of our students, she was trying to understand her call in life, and through all these classes, through all the interactions at Wildwood, it was through the mentorship program that she was able to develop her ministry. And as is today, this young lady developed her own line of natural cosmetics, or things that she probably learned here and in other places. And she was very encouraged, and she made a big change of her plans, and that came as a result of a mentoring program. And this is just to mention one example. There is a few others, like Sister Ebony was from last semester, and she gave her testimony, how the mentoring program have given her some empowerment that she never expected, but it was a blessing in her life. We continue a little bit more. Mission trips, this is one of the venues we have to empower the young people who comes here. And by God's grace, we are trying to develop documentaries that will help to promote and motivate others. At this point, we have 2 that we haven't launched yet, but there is one from the Cape Verde mission trip and one that is about to be finished from the Rwanda mission trips. And you will have access to that very soon, and that will be something just to encourage everybody. We had 36 people participate in our mission trips, overseas mission trips last year. We have 3 Wildwood workers that are not light or education workers, and that's something that we're trying to promote among our fellow workers. And we get 3 last year. We have 6 leaders from the education department and light ministry, and we were able to send 27 students, Wildwood graduates, to the mission fields. We visit these 5 countries. We do 6 mission trips: Rwanda, Mozambique, 2 in Cape Verde, Ecuador, and India. And my friends, the documentaries will show you a little bit how God is doing miracles. And we have so many testimonies after the whole 6-month or 1-year experience. When the students go to the overseas, that is the moment that everything makes sense. That is exactly the time that everything makes sense for them. And this is the one that I want to finish today, talking about the mini mission trips. We have been making a stop in the school every semester in the middle. Next week, as a matter of fact, and Friday, the 70% of the students of this campus will be going in an evangelism crusade in 4 different parts of the country. We have been implementing this for a year already, and last year in April we were able to visit in Texas and New Jersey 2 churches. Amazing. These pastors were looking how to implement health evangelism in their churches, and God works providence. And when we get there, my friends, it is amazing. There is hundreds of visitations every 10 days, for the 10 days. Nights of preaching, training, seminars, and you name it. It is a blessing. We have been able to bring lifestyle guests here out of these efforts. Online students and not yet on-campus students, if I don't mistake. But it's coming. And last October, we went to 4 different places. Michigan, we have a new lifestyle center, and 2 churches in Florida, 1 in Kissimmee, 1 in Orlando, and in Missouri as well. My friends, it's too much to share, but I will say one short testimony. The group that I took with me, that I can talk about it, is in Kissimmee. We had 8 hours of visitation every day. And there is a list of people waiting for us to, how to do with diabetes, what to do with high blood pressure. We couldn't stop 1 minute. It was traveling home after home, doing treatments, simple treatments of hydrotherapy. And the students, not just them, but every student, when they report what was your highlight of the whole experience at Wildwood, the #1 highlight was actually this mini mission trip. It seems like at the middle of the semester, things, are getting a little bit rough, a lot of pressure and tiredness. But these mini mission trips, it brings the spark again to understand why we are here, and the Lord is just blessing us. We have 4 more. We're going to Maine next Friday. We're going to Maine, the state of Maine. We're going to Texas. We're going to South Carolina, and we're going again to Florida. And there is more and more calls of people in churches all over the country wanting us to support in this health evangelism. And our students are the ones that have experienced this and frontline all of this. Let me just jump here to the last one, and the outreach, because it's not just once in the semester that we go for 10 days or, for 1 month between semester. We have a consistent, ongoing outreach program in our education department. Every Tuesday and every Friday, all the in-class students have the opportunity to participate in a local community outreach with the staff of education. We get definitely a new outreach program last year, and we are very happy with that. And of course, it's have to do with the new curriculum we're trying to implement in the cycle of evangelism. We do an outreach mentorship for every group, and we invite even the advanced students now to have a weekly outreach as well. It's not just one program, but every single, except the MVs, but very soon we will have them going out and do outreach as well. We do 2 places in West Side, 2 health clubs we were able to implement last year. We were able to implement a cooking club in Trenton with a New England church still going on in the San Elmo outreach. We have been able to get some Bible context the last years. And of course, Dade County, we have a program with the inmate. This is some of the projects that last year was able to, and they're still running today. We're giving continuity to those things, and it's just amazing. We are looking forward, and this semester, we began with some of the missionary volunteers who have probably not much time to go out, going in the evening to do assist South Bay Church with their health evangelism effort as well. And of course, very soon, as you will hear, the total members' involvement will take place in the Wildwood campus as a whole. Everybody going out in the community to do outreach. But definitely, this is some of the blessings. To finish, how do we do this outreach? We give a little numbers here. We definitely have partnership in the community service. Not open outreach sometimes, but even involvement with the community. We have partnership with 3 seniors life living facilities here at Chattanooga. And we are going there. They open their doors for us with all these people and say, please come and do something for health for us. We have, last semester, the students promote a Christian concert. It was a beautiful experience. We were able to achieve 15 health expos. And we reached around 700 people in all these 15 through the last year. And that's probably, there is more that I couldn't have the data for that. And of course, we had last year a contract with Georgia Cumberland Conference to do health evangelism. That it is done already, but we were able to train 9 churches and, reach a whole bunch of people in that community center. Thank you very much. There is much to say, but I will invite you to pray for each one of us. Every young person who comes here from different parts of the world is a miracle from God. And I just pray that as a campus, we keep giving the opportunities to empower them to go and do the work of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Brother. Thank you, Brother Jacob. This was an exciting report also of the Education Department. I also want to ask you to please pray for the students that come from abroad because they need a visa, as you know. And many of the visas last semester have been rejected. We see now that it's going well, but we still need prayer because, like he mentioned also in Cape Verde, we had a mission trip over there, and there's now 2 students that we recently accepted from Cape Verde. They want to get more training here and then go back and continue the work in Cape Verde. So it is a good effort to go there as a mission trip. So please keep those foreign students in prayer. And as we close our Sabbath school now, I want to ask Pastor Ravencroft to come up front to have a word of prayer for us.
Shall we kneel? Our precious Father in heaven, we are just so grateful. All these reports, they don't do us much good if we don't act on them. We pray, though, that you will give us inspiration, energy to go out, and wherever we are in our little sphere of influence, to make it the best that we possibly can. Whatsoever our hands find to do, may we do it with all our might, with the might that you will give us. May you bless these departments and these stories. May you bless us as we enter into the church service. And may we have an awesome sense of your presence, of your angels, and of your blessing today. For we ask it in Christ's name. Amen.